Hello students. So today we will try to finish this chapter number 4, which is on the transient vibrations. Okay. So in the last class we looked at what is the meaning of the impulse response. Okay, uh, unit impulse response to be specific, and for a spring mass damper system. Okay, if we have a force which is something like this one, that means this is acting for very small time, del tau, which is very small, and the magnitude is 1 over delta tau. Okay, and which is represented as, you call it F, in this case is represented as delta t. So this is the representation of force F equal to delta t. Yeah, this is force like this. Yeah, if this is the force, then we know what is the response. So we call it this one is like a unit force, right? So this is a unit impulse. So unit impulse, and the resultant displacement for this one, if you apply that force, resultant one is xu for this system. We found out that to be 1 over m omega d, then sine omega d t. Here we had e to the power minus zeta omega n. Okay, which is similar to when there is no damper. So this is k, this is c. If you put zeta equal to 0 here, this becomes 1, and then at zeta equal to 0, this term goes out and omega d becomes equal to omega n, and hence 1 over m omega n sine omega n t, which corresponds to the response, the unit impulse response due to a spring mass system only. But here, since the damper is there, the zeta terms comes into picture. Yeah, so where you can write where omega d is equal to omega n times root 1 minus zeta square. So this is the equation we derived yesterday. Now the thing is, we want to now apply. Right? We will do the same thing as we have done when there is no damper. Right? So now we are just repeating it. So let us say you have to find out for this force. So at t equal to 0, there is applied force, magnitude F naught, and this is what is called the unit step force. Yeah. So F equal to F naught and F equal to F naught, and you can also write it as like a delta t. Not delta t, this unit, sorry, what I mean to say is ut, where this u means unit step function. Yeah, so we have already talked about this one. So if F equal to F naught ut, that really means F equal to 0 if t is less than 0 and equal to F naught for t more than equal to 0. So this is the thing. And the solution, if this is the force, so we call this is Fu, like this one, right? So this one is for that the solution is this one given by this one. If the actual force is like this one, then we get xt, which is, as I said yesterday, we can just convolute it, right? So convolution from 0 to t, and then we have this function, so e, okay, here there will be t term as well, remember, okay? So this is zeta omega nt, okay, omega dt. So xt equal to 0 to t, and then we have to write the force first, convolution force. So what is this one? This becomes F naught, and F naught u, we have ut, right? So the F naught as such is, we know that this one also we can write F equal to F naught for t greater than 0. That simply you can also write that, yeah? So, or here, since we have to write the equation first, so you can write F naught, then u, and then v. So xt is given y, 0 to t, and then there will be f tau, and then we have unit xu, we call it xu hat basically, so xu hat, and here t minus tau and d tau. So this is the solution. So in this case, what you get? F at t equal to tau. So since tau is greater than t, hence F equal to F naught for all tau, right? For all tau greater than 0, right? Greater than equal to 0. Hence we have just F naught there. So F tau will be F naught always. And then this value, and this value we get from here, we get E minus zeta omega n t minus tau. Okay, then divided by m omega d, and then we have sine omega d t minus tau d tau. So this is the solution. If you are able to integrate this one, you get the solution. So this is only the matter of integrating it. Okay, so we can try integrating it. So this is equal to, what do we get? We can take the constant terms outside, and the, okay, so those are, so F naught, take this out, then we have over m omega d, and what remains now is 0 to t, and then omega n, e to the power minus zeta omega nt minus tau multiplied by sine omega d t minus tau theta. So this is the xt. Okay, finding this solution, there is some tricks involved. There is other way of doing this, is you express this as in terms of e to the power I omega d term. Yeah, so we can also say this equal to F naught m omega d, then real of, the imaginary of, okay, yeah. So imaginary of 0 to t, and then these terms becomes, we represent as, so we can write it as e to minus zeta omega n t minus tau, and this term we write as e, and then we write it as I, okay, and omega d t minus tau d tau. We can write like this one, and if we take find out the integrate this one, and if you find out the imaginary term of that, automatically the sine omega d term comes into picture, because this equal to cos omega d t minus tau plus I sine omega d t minus tau. Yeah. So let's add them together, so f over m omega d imaginary, and then 0 to t we get, and here you combine them together, so you get e to the power minus zeta omega n. Okay, so we can also write like this: e to the power minus zeta omega n plus I omega d multiplied by t minus tau, and then you have theta. Okay. So this is the term we have for xt. Yeah. So further to this, we get xt that is equal to, and then f naught over m omega d, then imaginary of this one, and since this is e, so simply the solution will be e to the power minus zeta omega n plus I omega d and t minus tau, okay, and then divided by whatever the coefficient of tau is. The coefficient of tau becomes minus of minus zeta omega n plus I omega d is the coefficient of that. Yeah. So this is what we get, and then we have to integrate from t to 0. So here we have, so f naught m omega d imaginary of the whole things. So what we get here, if you put t here, t minus t, this becomes 0, this all things becomes 1. Okay, so this becomes 1 over, so this will work out, so it becomes zeta plus zeta omega n minus I omega d. Yeah, so we get this one, and these terms becomes e to the power 0, so hence 1, then minus, then we put 0 value there, tau equal to 0 basically. Yeah, so what you get, e to the power minus e to the power minus zeta omega n plus I omega d times t simply, and divided by the same thing here, so zeta omega n minus I omega d we get. Yeah, so this what that is equal to f naught over m omega d, and here we get simply imaginary of 1 minus e minus zeta omega n multiplied by e to the power I omega dt, yeah, divided by zeta omega n minus I omega d. So this is what we get. Okay, so we simplify further, f naught over m omega d, and then so we convert denominator, we have complex, so we can make it real by multiplying by with the conjugate of this. So here it will be t. Okay, so then what we get? We get simply, we can put it this outside, so we get 1 over zeta square omega n square plus omega d square, zeta square omega n square plus omega d square, multiplied by, we have imaginary, and then we have zeta omega n plus I omega d, and multiplied by 1 minus e minus zeta omega n t e I omega dt. Okay, so imaginary of that we have to find out now. So equal to f naught over m, and then omega d 1 over zeta square omega n square plus omega d square. Yeah, and then from this side we expand it further. And remember, we also had here, this one is cos omega dt plus I sine omega dt. So let's try to find out the imaginary part of that. Okay, so we have to expand it. Actually, that's the better idea. So we have or otherwise we can also work like this. So let's if we multiply this to this, we have simply this term will come here. So imaginary terms I omega d, so thus omega d term will come here. Okay, and then we have this term. So here we have omega d term here, which will, when we multiply to real values, and real values here is omega d, and real values here is I 1 minus e to power minus zeta omega n and cos omega dt. Right? Okay. So here, what do we have? We have 1 minus e to power minus zeta omega n t multiplied by cos omega dt, and then we have minus again, minus e to power minus zeta omega n t multiplied by I multiplied by sine omega dt. So here is the imaginary term. So the real terms is this one multiplied by omega d, that is coming from there, and then we have from this side also, which multiplies from what, so then plus zeta omega n and multiplied by the, here imaginary term is just this term, and which will be negative basically. So we have minus and then e to power minus zeta omega n t times sine omega dt. So this is what we get. Yeah. Okay. So equal to f naught over m omega d over zeta square omega n square plus omega d square okay, and here we just expand it, and what we get? We get omega d minus omega d e to power minus zeta omega n omega n cos omega dt plus, in this case we get minus zeta omega n e to the power minus zeta omega n t and then sine omega dt. So let's simplify further. We have omega d here, omega d here, omega d here. So we can take this out from there. So now what do we get? We get equal to f naught over m, and then from here we get zeta square omega n square plus omega d square. Okay, and then we get to 1, then get minus, and then e to power minus zeta omega n, yeah, and omega d is gone from here, so cos omega dt and plus zeta omega n over omega d, zeta omega n over omega d, and then we have sine omega dt. So this is what we get xt basically. Yeah, it can be simplified further, as you can see here. We can actually have in terms of omega sine omega dt plus there may be if phase there. So the whole thing we can express as sine omega d t plus phi or minus phi. Okay, in this case it will be plus phi. So we can write like that also, but this is what the expression is. So let us simplify this further. So the idea is to get rid of omega t. We will have in terms of omega n and zeta only, not omega t. Okay, so that will make even simpler basically. So we have xt like this. Okay, now what we know is omega d is equal to omega n root 1 minus zeta square, that we know. So omega d square becomes omega n square 1 minus zeta square. So what if you see here zeta square omega n square, that really means, that will tell you that zeta square omega n square plus omega d square is equal to zeta square omega n square plus omega d square is omega n square 1 minus zeta square. See here. So that makes it equal to simply omega n square only. So this is nothing but omega n square. So if not over m omega n square. Second thing is we know that omega n square equal to k over m. So that really means m omega n square equal to k. So this thing, the whole thing is basically omega n square, and m omega n square is equal to k. So the whole thing is k. So what you get is xt is equal to f naught over k. So the whole thing is from here to here is nothing but k only. Yeah. So f naught k over k, so it is done here. Then 1 minus e to power minus here there should be a t term here. Okay, so always it will be e to power minus zeta omega n, the t term has to be there, so there was a mistake. So minus zeta omega n t, and then we will assume, you can write this as this, multiplied by cos omega d is this one. So let's write it like this, root 1 minus zeta square omega n, which is equal to omega d basically, right, times t, and right minus psi like this. So we write the solution here, where, okay, so okay, so what will be, there has to be, what are you going to do? We are also going to divide like this one. So there has to be some other, one more term has to be there. Okay. So as I said, there should be some term here, and what will be that term? So we can find out that. And how will we find out? So what we are going to do is cos, so here it will be cos phi. So we will have, we are going to write in terms of this square 1 over, so cos psi is equal to 1 over 1 plus zeta square omega n square over omega d square root. Yeah. So what we are going to do, a square of this means 1 plus a square of this, we add them, take a square root of that, divide here, so that we have to multiply that there. So basically this expression we can write it as this divided by this, and then this will be term which will be up. So basically this term has to be here. So basically we can write this term here. So we have root 1 plus zeta square omega n square over omega d square. So we write it here and then like this one. So that cos phi becomes like this, and sin psi becomes zeta omega n over omega d and root 1 plus zeta square omega n square divided by omega d square, and that really means tan psi, that becomes equal to zeta omega n over omega d, which is equal to zeta omega n over omega n root 1 minus zeta square equal to zeta over 1 minus root 1 minus zeta square. So tan psi equal to zeta 1 minus zeta square. Okay, and here this term is there. The final term we can write this term omega d square plus zeta square omega n square is nothing but omega n square. So omega n square over omega d square and omega n square over omega d square, omega n square over omega d square, nothing but 1 over 1 minus zeta square. So that really means this whole term becomes simply 1 over zeta. So final form becomes xt equal to f naught over k, then 1 minus, and this term if you use these identities, this will be simply zeta omega nt, this term, and this term will be simply 1 over root 1 minus zeta square, simply. Okay. So which identity we use these identities, this whatever is given here, this one if you use there, the whole term this one becomes simply, this term is nothing but 1 over root 1 minus zeta square. Let's work it out. So you will find it. So we can write simply xt equal to f naught over k 1 minus e to power minus zeta omega nt divided by 1 minus zeta square, and then cos, then root 1 minus zeta square omega nt minus psi. Okay, so this one where tan psi is equal to zeta over 1 minus zeta square. Yeah, so this is the solution you get if you compare this with the undamped vibration. You put zeta equal to 0 and you have to see whether it is the same as what you get earlier or not. So zeta equal to 0, it just becomes 1, this also becomes 1, this also becomes 1, and psi also becomes equal to 0. So if there is no damper, you simply get f naught over k 1 minus cos omega nt. That's it. And that's what the solution you got for the mass spring system only. Okay, for the step force, step input, response to the step input. So this actually also we have solved the same method, we apply the same method but with damper now, and we get the solution which looks reasonable because you can put zeta equal to 0 and you get the solution that you got for undamped system. Yeah, okay. So we have understood quite a few terms or methods to solve the same problem. Okay, so you can solve, for example, by applying the Laplace transform, or you can just apply the convolution method. Okay, so knowing the response because of the impulse or unit impulse, then you do the convolution and then you can find out what will be the response because of any force basically, right? So also the concept of transfer function as well. Okay, so when I said for a spring mass system, right, a spring mass damper system for this one, M, and then you say K, Cm, and you have a force F, and for this equation, ACx dot plus Kx equal to Ft, and you took the Laplace transform of both the sides, so that, and with initial condition that x0 equal to 0 and x dot 0 equal to 0, and what you ended up with ms square plus cs plus ks multiplied by the Laplace transform of xt is equal to fs, okay, where fs equal to Laplace transform of ft, and x, capital Xs equal to Laplace transform of xt, right? So we get like that, but this is output and this is input, and then regardless of what the force is here, you can find the solution, and this output by input we call it transfer function. So let's call it Ts equal to xs over fs, and that is equal to 1 over ms square plus cs plus ks. This you know that this is true for any kind of force, means this is a sort of displacement per unit force actually, this term, but again this is not in time domain but in C domain, S domain. S is basically complex frequency domain. Basically we will understand more meaning of that in control theory, okay, but right now just whatever you know from the Laplace transform course you had, just in that context only, this is transforming from T domain, time domain, to a frequency domain like this one, and more so we can see, basically we will see today. Now in fact when you say frequency domain, then what is actually really meaning of that, yeah, so that we'll see. Now let us say given Ts equal to like this one, and next is we have to find out, somebody says find xt corresponding to let us say cos it ft equal to, could be anything like a sine alpha t plus like e to the power alpha t plus anything, whatever the value is there, yeah, somebody asking you, then what you have to do is simply first you do the Laplace transform of that, whatever you get, let's call it g, okay, so that we not confuse between this and this, so gt. So given that, so what you have to do, first do Laplace transform of that, convert into gs, okay, then now this Ts is per unit force, okay, so xs will be equal to Ts times gs, yeah, that's what we have seen. For example here in this case xs equal to what happens, Ts times Fs, that's what it tells, right? So since Fs is a force, Gt in this case we are taking as a force, so Xs becomes like this one, so our Xt, the one we want to find out, will be L inverse Ts multiplied by Gs. So basically the idea is, given this system which is represented as a transfer function Ts, which is equal to 1 over ms square plus cs plus k, not s here, just k here, okay. So 1 over ms square plus cs plus k. Then if somebody tells you for a given a find out the x, what you will do? First of all, you will do the Laplace transform of the force first. Let us say Laplace transform of the given force is gs. You multiply that with the transfer function, and whatever the resultant is the what you will get by Laplace transforming applying the Laplace transform to the resulting displacement. That really means if you take inverse Laplace transform of the transfer function multiplied by the Laplace transform of the force, you will get the actual displacement, the resulting displacement, basically. Yeah. So hence this is a force per unit, displacement per unit force representation. It may be in terms of in the S domain, but it is very powerful. Yeah, because in T domain we could not write, because in T domain the relationship is not a multiplication relationship. There it is not xs equal to ts times fs. Okay, so in fact xx equal to ts plus fs. This representation, multiplication, this type of only possible in the S domain. That's why we write like that. But in T domain, it's not like this. In T domain, we have convolution form. We will have something like 0 to t, and then we will have like f tau, right? And then this one is this t minus tau d tau. We have something like this one. We have integration, then we have convolution. So it's not that easy in the T domain. But in S domain it's very easy, because if you take same very equation, if you apply Laplace transform, this transform to this form. This by property of the Laplace transform is a convolution integral becomes a multiplication of the two factors. Yeah, this you must have done in your Laplace transform differential equation or some course already. So this is the property. Since this is the property, hence we can use that property, right? And from there we will go. And hence this is used a lot in control theories. Yeah, it is called transfer function, because this actually tells output over input, although in S domain. But still, the transfer function is nothing but output in S domain divided by input in S domain, and that's what that is. Okay, now we want to see whether we can get any idea, more idea than just this representation. We will see that. Okay, we have same old system. Okay, we will be actually using this for the whole semester, because this is what we are going to learn, right? So okay, configuration may change, but spring mass damper is the thing that we will learn the whole semester. Okay, so transfer function, we call it Ts. For this one is 1 over ms square plus cs plus k. Okay, now if we have a harmonic f equal to f naught e to the power I omega t, if this is this one is fine. For we understand, for in order to find out the, first of all, remember, like when we have mx double dot cx dot plus kx equal to 0, then we call it free vibration. Then we have mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to some sinusoidal term, e to the power minus either f naught e to the power I omega t term, or we had f naught sine omega t term, or we had f naught sine cos omega t term. Then This is harmonic. Harmonically forced vibration. Right? So free, forced. So this is a forced vibration. The third is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to ft, any force. Yeah, not necessarily this is harmonically, but still this is also forced only, the forced vibration. However, there is no frequency term involved there. There is no omega. So no omega term. Right? Omega n will be there because this is the natural property of this system, but there is no omega term. So when you have some omega, input itself is omega here. Yeah, so because there is an interaction between the input omega and the natural frequency, means the frequency of the force and natural frequency of the system, then there will be some problem. There may be some interaction. Hence, you have to have a different chapter for that, and it's very important. There may be resonance. Okay, so we will talk about resonance now, little bit. Okay, so this portion was left in the chapter 3. Okay, so very small section that we will cover today. But I also want to put this as a continuation of what we have been doing so far. Okay, so this one is forced vibration, still forced vibration. However, there is no omega term there. Okay, and if there is no omega term there, but it is a function of t, and we have called this one as transient vibration. Okay, so this is because of the force only. The force has been applied. This is a forced vibration. This is a forced vibration only. This also is forced only, but this is not harmonically forced. This is being forced by any arbitrary force, right? Okay. Now I'm asking that we can find out the kind of xt based on this one, the method we have discussed already. However, just looking at that, can we find out what will be the amplitude of the displacement? What are you given? You are just given transfer function, and you have to find out how the system will behave with a different forcing frequency. What you have to do? Okay, you just do s equal to I omega, and that's it. Everything taken care of. Basically, what you are doing is you are using s equal to I omega. This is kind of converting from Laplace transform to Fourier transform, basically. Yeah. So the difference in the two is the Fourier transform. You have this omega is a real. Yeah. So in fact, Fourier transform is you may call it a subset of Laplace transform. Laplace transform where s is a complex, so it could be kind of s plus I omega form. And when you have sigma equal to 0, then you get the Fourier transform. Yeah. Anyway, you may be knowing more than me because you had these courses. But what I mean to say is, if you put s equal to I omega here, then how it looks like? We have t, we call it t omega, right? Equal to, we have minus m omega square plus we have I c omega plus k. So now transfer function is a function of omega now. That means if x is given by x equal to x naught e to power I omega t remember, and minus 5, that was the solution, right? So x naught, we can write it for, what is the meaning of that? This represent amplitude, okay, means x naught when f naught equal to 1. This is what it means, okay, means when x naught, this is the value of x naught when f naught equal to 1, where in case of harmonically forced vibration. Okay, so if f equal to f naught ei omega t, you have transfer function of this one. Okay, so that means in order to get x naught, we have to multiply. We know that x naught over f naught is equal to transfer function, and hence x naught equal to f naught divided by this k minus m omega square plus I c omega. Okay, divide by k, so you get f naught over k divided by, and you get the what you are familiar with, omega square, then omega n square plus I, and then you have 2 plus 2, right, 2 zeta omega n. Zeta, you know, zeta, where zeta is, zeta equal to c over 2 root km. Simplify this, you get this value. This sounds fun, should be familiar to you. You have already seen that. But what I did not do, I just replaced s with I omega, and we got the frequency response. Frequency response as such, this gives you the magnitude of the vibration. X naught, this transfer function, the moment you put s equal to I omega, now what you get is the magnitude now of the displacement as a function of omega. Right now what you have is a complex, so you can get it like here we have to write like this. X naught goes like this. Okay, so x naught of f naught equal to we have to take the absolute value of this or magnitude of that. So x naught over f naught equal to t omega. In fact, I should write I omega here. Yeah, and what you get is like this, magnitude of that, and that means you get f naught over k root, and you get 1 minus omega square omega n square plus 4 zeta square omega n square. Okay, so that's what you get. This you have studied already, right? Okay. Now if you plot this one, this is going to look like this. So when omega equal to 0, then what the value you get, x naught will be equal to f naught over k only. Yeah, so this is okay, here this should be omega over omega n square. Okay, so here it should be omega over omega n square. So it should be omega over omega n square. Okay, so omega square omega n square. Okay, so there was some error here, so it should be like this. Okay, so if you put why it should be like that, because if you put omega equal to 0, then what should you get? The whole thing should be 1. Okay, and so that omega equal to 0 means it's a static load basically, and that in that case x will be just f naught over k. That means just a spring is working, that really means. Okay, so it starts with 1. So this f naught over, it starts with f naught over k, and then it will go up, and then it will come down. It goes like this. Okay, so this is at omega equal to omega n, it will be the highest. Okay, the energy should be the highest, and this is what it is known as the resonance. You call it resonance. Okay, there is term for sharpness of resonance. Resonance, you also write it as Q, and what it is basically you first find omega n, and there is another frequency point here, we call it omega 1. There is one more frequency point here, this is omega 2. And what is the relation? The relation is, you have to first find out omega 1. Omega 1 is equal to the half power of this, means half energy of this. This is called half power point. Yeah, so this is half power points. Points, which one? Omega and omega 2. So that really means at x1, if x1, that really means the displacement, the magnitude of displacement here means this value from here to here is x1, and here to here is x2. So x1 is equal to, let us say, at the natural frequency, there, this is xn, n for natural frequency. So x1, what is x1 square equal to xn square over 2. So half power equal to x2 square. Half power, because power, as you know, energy we have half kx square. So power also will be proportional to x square, because this is oscillating. So this will be power also proportional to the displacement square. So x1 and x2 means the displacement of where the natural frequency is. A square of that divided by 2 will give you x1 square or x2 square. So that really means, what it means is x1 equal to xn over root 2 equal to x2. Okay, and one is left side of omega n, and the another is on the right side of omega n. So we have to find out the omega corresponding to x1 and x2. So first let's find out what is the value of xn. Xn, we can, if you put omega equal to omega n, we get the value of xn. So xn will be x naught at omega equal to omega n, and which will be equal to f naught over k divided by, here we put 1, so it becomes 0 here, and then we have this. So you get simply 2, then zeta, then omega over omega n is 1, so just 2 zeta. So what you get is equal to f naught over 2 zeta k is xn. That really means that x1 equal to x2 will be equal to, simply xn is this, so f naught over 2 root 2 zeta k is the value of x1, x2. Now we have to find out what is the value of omega 1 and omega 2, and how will you find out? So omega 1, right, omega 1, omega 2 will be equal to, so we put the value of this, so x1 or x2 will be equal to what? F naught over k divided by root, and we get 1 minus, this will be omega 1 or omega 2, right? So let's we write it omega 1 square over omega n square plus 4 zeta square omega 1 square over omega n square. Yeah. Now this value is given, this is given. From there we have to find out the value of omega 1. Now omega 1 square, so what we will get basically, omega 1 will give you both the things, omega 1 and omega 2, both basically, because finding the solution of this one, this equal to this. Here this also is a solution, this one is also a solution, because at the both the sides x equal to what we get on the both the sides, we get x1 and x2, which is equal to the value of xn divided by root 2. So we get two solutions basically of that, right? So we automatically get omega 1 and omega 2 as a solution of that. Okay, so we, by solving that, we can find out. So the sharpness of resonance Q is given by omega n over omega 2 minus omega 1, where omega n, you know, omega n is root k over m, omega 1, omega 2 is the solution of this, means f naught over 2 root 2 zeta k equal to this expression. Here omega n, actually what we will find out is omega 1 will have like two prominent solutions, so one will be omega 1, the other will be omega 2. So you can also find out. So we have to find out the sharpness of the resonance Q, which will be is given by this one. For zeta equal to very, very small, you can actually exactly you can find out what the solution is. So when zeta is very, very small, right? Very, very smaller than 1, in that case what happens? Okay, so let's see from here. Let's simplify further. So f naught over k, so we get 2 root 2 zeta, 2 root 2 zeta is equal to this, one. So if you square this one, so we get a square of that, so becomes 1 minus omega 1 over omega n square plus 4 zeta square omega 1 square omega n square. This become 8 zeta square equal to this. Yeah. We can expand this one. What do we get? We get 1. Then we get minus 2 omega 1 square over omega n square plus omega 1 4 over omega n 4 plus 4 zeta square omega 1 square over omega n square. Yeah. We have that. We can further write this in a quadratic form. So we have omega 1 over omega n to power square is omega 1 square omega n square to power 2 square term. Then we have this one, we combine them together, so we get plus 4 zeta square minus 2, so 4 zeta square minus 2, and then we have omega 1 square omega n square plus 1 minus 8 zeta square is equal to 0. So this sort of quadratic equation we get. So 4 zeta square minus like this one. So omega 1 square over omega n square becomes equal to minus 4 zeta square minus 2 plus minus root. Then we have 4 zeta square minus 2 square minus 4 multiplied by 1 minus 8 zeta square divided by 2. That's what we get. Or simply we get equal to, divide that, we get minus 2 zeta square minus 1 plus minus root, we get zeta square so we get 2 zeta square minus 1 square minus 1 minus 8 zeta square. So we get omega 1 square over omega n square like this, equal to minus 2 zeta square minus plus 1 plus minus root. Here if you expand it, what we get? We get from here 4 zeta 4, then we get minus 4 zeta square plus 1 minus 1 plus 8 zeta square. Yeah, okay. And or omega 1 over omega n square will be equal to, now we can assume zeta 4 equal to 0 given zeta is very small, okay, and 1 cancels out, so we have 8 zeta square, this becomes 0 and this is cancelling out, so 8 minus 4 becomes 4, so we get minus 2 zeta square plus 1, and then we have plus minus root 8 zeta square, root, we have 1 4 zeta square, right? Okay, so what do we get? The zeta 4 minus 4 zeta square, so 8 zeta square minus 4 zeta square, 0, so we get 4 zeta square, so equal to minus 2 zeta square plus 1, then plus minus, you have 2 zeta in this case. Yeah, okay, so what do we get? To equal to 1 plus 1 minus 2 zeta square plus minus 2 zeta. That's what you can write like that. Okay, now next we can simplify further. This becomes 1 plus minus 2 zeta. Why? Because zeta square, we are going to put zeta square also tends to 0 because zeta is very small. So this is can be approximated like this one, and hence from there what we have is omega 1 over omega n square is equal to 1 plus minus. So actually that really means is omega 2 over omega n square is equal to 1 plus 2 zeta and omega 1 over omega n square equal to 1 minus 2 zeta. Because as I told you earlier, there are goals like this one. We are looking for the same value here both. Hence solution we will get 1 omega, other will be omega 2, and hence we are getting, we put instead of omega we put omega 1 actually, but this represents both omega 1 omega 2 both. Yeah, so we get like this one. Hence this minus this, what we get? Omega 2 square minus omega 1 square over omega n square is equal to 4 zeta, and that really means omega 2 minus omega 1 over omega n square, like this one, multiplied by omega 2, you can write here. That means omega 2 minus omega 1 divided by omega n multiplied by omega 2 plus omega 1 over omega n equal to 4 zeta. Okay, now this you can assume omega 1 plus omega 2, omega, here we have omega 1 and omega 2, both, since we have here and here, we can assume omega 1 plus omega 2 equal to 2 omega n, right? So this plus this will be equal to 2 of this, 2 of, so from here to here plus here to here is equal to 2 of here to here, we can assume like that. So this becomes 2 value, right? So what we get is omega 2 minus omega 1 over omega n equal to, here it is 2, right? So this one will be 2, around 2, the whole thing, yeah? So we get 2 zeta. So what we get, omega 2, this like omega 2 minus omega 1 over omega n is equal to 2 zeta, yeah? But q, we defined it at q is equal to omega n over omega 2 minus omega 1, which is the sharpness of resonance. Hence q, we can just write simply q equal to 2 over zeta. So finally, this is what we have to derive. So this is a q value, which is represents the sharpness of resonance, which is given by natural frequency divided by omega 2 minus omega 1, where omega 1, omega 2 are the frequencies where x square, that is the amplitude of the displacement, is half of the half of that which is at the natural frequency, yeah? So that's why omega 2 and omega 1 are this omega 1 and omega 2. So this simply becomes q equal to 1 to zeta. So if zeta equal to 0, if you see the undamped case, q is infinite. Otherwise, higher the damping coefficient, lower is the sharpness of resonance. So this is what. Okay, that is all.